How's it going, everybody? My name's Dave Whipple. Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you guys. Today, I want to give you guys probably the most valuable information that I possibly can about how to fail at YouTube. Now, this channel is dedicated to succeeding at YouTube, but honestly, over the years, I've always found that cautionary tales are really easy to remember. One of my favorite writers is a guy named Ben East. And Ben East used to write for Outdoor Life. And anytime there was a bear attack or a cougar attack or somebody was lost in the woods, Ben East would go write their story. He'd interview the people and get the blood and guts details. And it was really easy to understand what to do in those situations by finding out what not to do. So what not to do, a lot of times, to me, it seems to be better. It's a better learning tool than do this, do this, do this. When somebody says, don't do that, it sticks a little better. So today I'm going to tell you guys how to fail at YouTube. Stay tuned. All right, for starters, the biggest thing in the room, the big gorilla, the giant crocodile in the grass is subject. Subject is everything in YouTube. Let me explain that. A lot of times you could be doing something that's really interesting, but you kind of missed the point. Like if you did if you're building a deck on a house, I love this for an example. If you're building a deck on a house and you're using recycled material and you're gonna just do it as economical as possible, but you decide that you're gonna shoot a video about how to use a post hole digger. So you use a post hole digger to dig the holes for the posts for the deck. In the meantime, you've missed the fact that the deck is a better subject. Nobody really wants to run a post hole digger, but there's probably a lot of people out there that want to build a deck. So even though the thing that you're doing could be a really good subject, it's really easy to screw up by picking the wrong part of the thing you're doing and making that the subject. The subject is the quickest way to screw up a video. You kind of have to figure out what is it about what you're planning to do in your life that actually has the broadest appeal. Let's say running a post hole digger's got 10,000 people that are going to click on that video worldwide. And the odds of you getting all those clicks are slim to none. Let's say building a deck has got 3 million people worldwide that want ideas about how to build a deck. If you can build a deck with recycled material, which is what you're doing, building a deck with recycled material, maybe that's a great subject with a good angle. Building a deck cheap, if it doesn't cost you much, you've got how to build a deck cheap with recycled material. To me, that's a great subject. It's a great angle. Everything about that's good. But if you shoot the video on how to use a post hole digger and you ignore the better part of what you're doing, you've screwed the pooch, man. You've just taken a great subject and ruined it. Let's move on to thumbnail. Let's say that you built this amazing deck. You used recycled material and it was cheap. And as opposed to making this beautiful deck the thumbnail and getting the best lighting and the best angle and the best cropping so that people can see that it's a deck and they can see that it's beautiful. Let's say that you do one of those stupid YouTube faces where you're like, like that. And then you title it something like, "You won't believe what I did last weekend." Man, I can't think of two ways to absolutely blow it quicker than stupid thumbnail and a stupid title. Number one, the title should be exactly what the thing is. So when people see the title and they see the thumbnail, the two of them match. And they're like, oh, okay, I get that. That's what I like. That's what I'm looking for. Let me explain this just a little bit so we're all on the same page. YouTube is full of how-to content. And then it's got a lot of people that are vloggers. And how-to content is very easy to shoot. Get all the details, put all the information in there, and present it to the viewer. On the other hand, vlog is like, hey, this is what I'm doing today, and I'm glad you're back from yesterday. Remember this thing I did yesterday? If you're a really interesting person living in a really interesting place, doing cool stuff, you might be able to make it as a vlogger. But if you're just, an average Joe, average Jane, you're just doing normal stuff, you can very easily screw up a video by coming at it from a vlog perspective. Because if your title is, "You'll never guess what I did last week building a deck," and your thumbnail is, and it's just a stupid surprised look, most people out there don't know who you are. They don't care who you are. They don't care what you did last week. None of that stuff matters to them. But there's this huge market for building a deck with recycled material for cheap. So the title should be Building a Deck with Recycled Material for Cheap. You've got a great subject. You've got a great angle. You've got an extra angle. Then the thumbnail should be the deck. But if you came at it like a vlogger, you know, trying to get that, you know, curiosity title, curiosity thumbnail, you won't believe what I did. Nobody cares, man. Unless you're Casey Neistat or Mr. Beast or one of these guys that's massive. You don't have 2, 3, 4 million people that care what you're doing and who you are. And honestly, most of us never, ever will. But if you have something really valuable to offer people, make sure that they understand that. You could butcher that video, which is a great video, very easily by treating it like a vlog, screwing up the subject, thumbnail, title. There's 2 more ways that you can fail at YouTube. Let's take our deck, for example, again. Let's say that you set the camera up and you have one shot of you, and it's an hour-long video, and it's just your butt in the air as you're driving nails on this deck. And you're mumbling because, you know, the camera's way behind you and nobody can hear you. Audio is super important in a video. If a video is a really good video, but it's got terrible audio, hardly anybody's going to watch it. You're shooting yourself in the foot. If a video is one long shot, nobody can watch that. None of us have attention spans that are that long. The internet's ruined that. So if you're not moving the shot and you've got bad audio, you're screwing that video up. You're just ruining it. The other thing is to make a video that's an hour long, that's got just a little bit of useful information sprinkled throughout it. You will absolutely destroy a good video by using an hour's worth of footage when you only have 4 minutes worth of great content. Now, the rule of thumb here is to make your content only as long as it needs to be. If you've got an hour's worth of crap footage, you chop it all down. Let's say you got a good 20-minute video. You could probably have a really good 18-minute video, and you might have a perfect 15-minute video. But if you make it an hour-long video, you've watered it down. One of my favorite ways to think about this is like you have a bowl of chili, right? And it's perfect. It's got the right blend of everything, and it's seasoned perfectly. And you take that bowl of chili and you put in a half a cup of water. Well, now, you know, all the chili's in there, all the stuff's in there that you like, but it's got this extra filler in it that has no flavor and is doing nothing for the chili, and it's watered the chili down. Put in another cup and you have this soup that kind of tastes something like chili. You're just ruining it by putting more in it. People don't pay for YouTube videos with money. They pay for it with time. So if you're asking somebody, if you're charging somebody 15 minutes of their time for what you have to offer, is it worth it? If a video is longer than it needs to be and it's boring, even though it does have good stuff in it, you've kind of ruined it because people don't have the time to watch a video that's longer than it's supposed to be. Another way that you can fail on YouTube is to assume people know who you are and care who you are. We've all seen videos like that where somebody starts out and they're like, hey, welcome back to the channel. It's raining out here today. It's probably 80, 85. I just want to say sorry for not posting anything in the last couple weeks. You guys remember the last video I put out. You hear stuff like this all the time. All the time. The truth is, if you have 10,000 subs, right? You probably have 800 subs that'll watch you paint a wall. They just like you. They like your delivery. They like what you're talking about. And they'll watch anything you put out. And we love those 800 people. Those are the people that actually, they like you. They like what you're doing. They don't care what it is you're filming. They like it. But for everybody else, nobody else wants to see just dribble. And for the bigger picture, the global audience, I suppose, if you're not offering anything but observations of the weather and apologies for why you haven't uploaded, nobody else in the world will get any value out of that at all. Nobody. It's an absolute waste of time if you want to make content that can do well on the platform. If you just want to shoot videos about yourself and, filming your dog and, filming the birds on the bird feeder, man, that's great. There's no problem with that. YouTube is full of hobbyists, and if you just want to be part of the platform and enjoy having a comment section, and people see, oh, you had this bird on your bird feeder, that's awesome. And you're like, yes, it was awesome. That's wonderful. But if you do want to put out the best content you can, with the end result being you'd like to do YouTube as a living, you can't do any of those things. Let me show you another one. This one. Now, we've all seen videos like this, where what they're doing is they want to tell you what's going on. Oh, you got to check this thing out. And it's this handheld shot, right? I got this phone out here at my arm's length, and I'm using this as a handheld shot. And the audio, I'm talking into this mic, but the audio that the phone is picking up is inconsistent because the microphone is changing angles and the shot is changing angles. And oh my goodness, this long handheld shot here, this is a very good way to fail at YouTube. Wow, enough of that, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with a handheld shot. Handheld shots kind of add in a little bit of movement. A lot of times you have to take your camera and hang on to it to get a shot. Handheld shot is like wasabi hot mustard. A little bit of it goes a long way. So if you don't want to spend the $25 to buy a good used tripod and you want to shoot all your videos with this handheld shot, just know you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's one of the best ways to fail. Another great way to fail at YouTube is don't answer your comments. People are reaching out to you. They want to say something to you. A lot of times they just want to say good job. That's great. Sometimes they have a question. When somebody takes time out of their life to watch one of your videos and they actually enjoy it and they actually comment, this should not be taken lightly, especially when you're starting out. I answered every single comment on my channel until about 80,000 subscribers on the Bush Radical channel. And it got to the point I just couldn't do it anymore. I was putting in probably an hour and a half a day, and I just read every single comment. And it was either a thanks, or if somebody had a question, I'd answer the question. And years ago, I read a book, and it was a book I probably read this book 10 times. It's called How to Run a Successful Construction Company by a guy named David Gerstle. And in that book, he talks about handing out his business card, right? He would buy business cards by like the 10,000 pack box, and he'd just hand them out. If anybody would say hi to him, he'd be, hi, here's my card. YouTube is kind of like that in a way. You have this opportunity to make this connection with somebody who has taken a minute out of their life to say, hey, I like what you did. Why wouldn't you do that? Some of the best time you can spend is reading comments and answering questions until you get to the point where you can't. And for me, that was about 80,000 subs. I couldn't do it anymore. It took too much time. But when you're first starting out, if you want to fail, don't read your comments and don't answer them. Whew, man. Well, I hope that this has been insightful. I hope it's been fun, because it is more fun to talk about how to screw a video up than it is to talk about how to make good content and run a good YouTube channel. I always love the cautionary tale of what not to do. I think it's super valuable. I hope you guys have found this really valuable. Don't forget, nail the next video if you think this channel is for you, which I hope it is. My name's Dave Whipple, and we'll talk to you soon.